Hello, you're on with Adele Andrews, and today we are going to be talking to Dr. Daryl Green, and this is Leadership Talk. Dr. Green provides motivation, guidance, and training for leaders at critical ages and stages of their development. He has over 25 years of management experience and has been noted and quoted in USA Today, Ebony Magazine, and the Associated Press. He is the author of the book Job Strategies for the 21st Century, which was ranked #1 on Amazon several years ago. Welcome to the show, Dr. Green.
Thank you, Miss Adele. How you doing?
Uh,
Looking good.
Thank you. On today's show, we're going to focus on leadership in general. Once again, we have the renowned Dr. Green to chat with us and share some of his insights and information. Thank you for agreeing to answering questions for us today.
No problem.
Our audience is very excited to hear more about leadership. Exactly. And how they can translate that leadership in today's culture. We'll just continue our conversation, pick up where we stopped the last time.
Yes.
What does it mean to be a leader?
That's a great question. Researchers have thought about it over centuries. About that. Leadership, what it means to be a leader, is really about the relationship that a leader has with his followers, and it's based on influence. So leadership is really about gaining influence over your followers. It's really the simple way to look at it. You think about Steph Curry leading that, or someone going into battle. All those avenues are focusing on leaders.
So you don't have to be a more mature individual to be a leader.
That's another great question. No, a person starting at a early age can have those attributes, because it goes back to what we used to call the great man theory, or the trait theory. Thought that certain people had, or you had to be born into leadership, and we know that's not true. But leaders come from all social backgrounds. That you can be a leader, and leaders, from my perspective, leaders are made. They might have some attributes, but leaders are made.
Well, there are many individuals who are in management positions who don't necessarily have leadership abilities. What would you say is the difference between a manager and a leader? And please share some examples with us.
That's a great question. A very simplistic way of looking at it. A manager handles resources. In organizations, you have resources dealing with materials, dealing with humans. A manager tends to govern or control those assets to make sure you meet the status quo. When we talk about a leader, you're talking about a person that's really maybe moving beyond that status quo in terms of moving the organization, moving the individuals to something a step a little bit higher. And most people call that vision. Vision is moving to a common goal. And so you may be a great manager in terms of managing the resources. You might not be a good leader in terms of motivating your employees. People do it. You can tell the difference. The simple test is, if you're in a management position, if you weren't governing their checks, you weren't governing how they live, with those individuals, was your employees follow you? And if the answer is no, then you're probably just a manager. You're not a leader. And that's just a very simplistic way of looking at that.
And along that same line, I've worked for different people in different environments and different kinds of settings. If I were interested in kind of doing a little assessment of individuals that I've worked for, what would I look for as traits of a good leader?
I think the #1 trait that's missed is that an effective leader listens to followers. Kind of like a marriage. You're married a long time, and they say, you hear me speak, but you're really not listening to what I'm saying. And so I think listening is important. I think communicating, that goes to listening. I think having a vision is very important. I think in certain cases, having employees respect a competent manager, a competent leader. So you have to have the competency to be able to do your job, and they respect that. And then you have to live with integrity. You have to be a person that people trust and they value, and it goes back to character. So those are just some of the simple things I think are traits that we all can develop. One of the hottest things is called emotional intelligence, and that's where a leader can identify not only that person's emotions, but also dealing with their employees, and how that's important as we talk about downsizing and layoffs. Being able to empathize with people is something that today's leaders are really missing. Are some of the things that I think will help develop emerging leaders.
What was that term that you used again?
We call it EQ as opposed to IQ, or emotional intelligence. It's really the hottest things that we're looking at right now.
Emotional quotient, huh? Very good. Is there any closing remarks you'd like to share with the audience?
I think leadership, we talk about what's wrong with America, how to make America better. I think it starts with having good, moral, fibered leaders. And that's how we'll get America back on track and make it even greater.
And we all want to make America great
Yes.
again.